3 summers ago, I built what I like to call the ultimate above ground pool. An affordable above ground option with a DIY deck wrapped around it. That gives it a classy look without breaking the bank. If you want to see that whole build, go check out that video once we finish things up here. It's been amazing. We've enjoyed it every summer. But this year, I wanted to see if it would be possible to add an upgrade and actually be able to swim in it year round. So today we will look at how everything is holding up after 3 summers, how I intend on heating these 8,500 gallons of water, how much it costs to keep all of that heated, and how everything performs when it drops down below freezing temperatures. After 3 years, I'm honestly impressed with how well this setup has held up. The frame still looks solid, although I am seeing a little rust around the corners. I'm thinking this is probably due to the fact that I have gone the saltwater pool route. This salty water seems to have a negative effect on anything metal that's near the pool. As you can see, this metal hinge on the deck has completely rusted away. The liner's doing great with the exception of a few spots that seem to have gotten stained by some acorns that I let sit down on the bottom for too long. Even the pool skimmer I installed and my 3D printed wedge is still holding strong. No leaks at all. The legs of the frame still look great. The pool pump, the sand filter, and the saltwater generator are all still working great. Only thing I had to fix was replacing the top handle on the filter as the plastic snapped off at one point. But that was an easy fix and only cost me around $30. But overall, everything is holding strong. And all of this has been through blazing hot Georgia summers, rainstorms, plenty of cannonballs, and it's still giving me and my family a fun place to hang out. With the exception of the old original decking that came with the house, it's still time to rip all of that out and replace it with new framing and deck boards before someone falls through and gets hurt. As soon as summer comes to an end, the water starts dipping below my comfort zone. I like to swim in water around 72 degrees Fahrenheit or above, but by September we were already falling well under that. I've always wondered, could I actually heat this pool enough to continue swimming through the cold months? Aquastrong reached out about trying their pool heat pump, and the timing honestly couldn't have been better. They didn't give me a script or tell me what to say, they just wanted my real experience with it. So naturally, I said yes, and a few days later, FedEx rolled up and delivered this big box. The thing is pretty heavy though, so I grabbed my hand truck and carefully wheeled it around the back to my pool. Once I had it in place, the actual installation is surprisingly straightforward. Now, some people install a bypass valve to adjust how fast the water flows into the heat pump. With the size of my pool and the pump I'm running, I didn't need one per the instructions recommendations. Instead, I could run everything directly in line without restricting the flow. That kept the setup very simple. Now, Aquastrong's instructions do recommend plumbing in hard PVC lines, but I took a risk. Just keep in mind this might void your warranty. All I had to do was purchase the 16-inch flexible hose line that could screw directly in without having to deal with cutting and gluing in hard pipes.
Pump, which is going into my chlorinator right now, but it's going to go into the water inlet. So I'm going to take that, put it here, and then the water outlet is going to go right back down to here.
Hooking up the water lines itself was a breeze. For the electrical part, I went to the local big box store and picked up a grounding rod and some copper wire.
I'll do it over here. This looks like some softer dirt. Maybe not.
That was the only part that really made me sweat.
Make sure we're as straight as possible.
If you've ever installed one, you know this is where you'll get your exercise in. Georgia clay is no joke.
All right, I got this gigantic post hole driver. I'm working on the railroad all the long day. That's probably safe.
But once that rod was finally in the ground, I clamped in that copper wire and everything was now properly grounded and ready to go. The last thing was the plug. On this model, it is 120 volt, which is great, but it's also for 20 amp circuits. so it has that horizontal plug. Most newer homes will already have the correct outlets for this, but mine did not. After confirming at the electrical panel that this circuit was indeed 20 amps, I just ordered an outlet strip that had the correct plug style. Then I could plug in the heater and get this thing warming up my water. Before I turned on the heater, I made sure to run the water pump and check for any leaks and bleed out all of the air from the system. Now, before I show you the numbers, it's important to mention that my setup is far from ideal. If anything, this is a worst-case scenario for heating efficiency. First, there's a massive oak tree that casts shade over the pool most of the day. Great for summer comfort, terrible for trying to get free heat from the sun. I've also got a long plumbing run between the heater and the pool itself, which means the warm water cools down a little bit before it even gets back into the pool. Third, above-ground pools have no insulation around them, other than the 1-inch foam that I put under it when I installed the pool. It's just exposed to the outside air. So if this setup can heat well in my conditions, it's likely it could perform even better in yours. So it's 8:42 in the morning. It's 50 degrees outside right now. We've got 59 degree water coming in and 59 degree water going out. Oh, we just turned it on. I think I'm just gonna leave it at 81, but here's how you change the temperature on there. If we can get to 72, that's swimmable for us. We don't mind swimming in that. All right, make sure you close that up. Let's go check the temperature up top. We're reading 59 up here as well. All right, it is 28 hours later. Let's see how we're doing. And it was pretty cold last night and this morning. All right, 66 degrees in the pool coming back in, and we are pushing out 73 degrees. So it has increased 7 degrees. This is day 2 of heating, and we are at 71 degrees. So remember, we started at 59 and we are all the way up here. I'd say 72 is pretty comfortable swimming. So I'm pretty sure I could swim in this, especially with the ambient temperature in the air. It feels warm. I'm gonna let it go a little further. We'll see how warm we can actually get the pool. Here's what I tracked. I logged the ambient air temperature, the pool temperature before the heater, and the temperature after the heater kicked in. Running the Aquastrong in boost mode, I brought the pool from 59 degrees Fahrenheit up to 73. That's an increase of 14 degrees. That top number was actually 1 degree warmer than my comfort level. So amazingly, I was actually swimming in November. It honestly blew my mind that an above ground pool sitting in the shade could even reach that temperature this time of the year. 73.5 over there. I've got 77 coming out of the outlet. Oh man. But it is, what is it, November 6th? Never thought I'd be swimming in November. Now, during all of this testing, I was averaging around 36 kilowatt hours per day, which at my rate of 11.6 cents per kilowatt hour came out to about $4.26 per day. Now, keep in mind, this was during the cold months and on boost mode, which keeps the unit running constantly. In warmer weather, it won't need to work nearly as hard. Once you're maintaining temperature instead of chasing it, it cycles on and off, and the cost drops fast. So in the fall, you're paying for comfort. In the summer, you're paying for maintenance. One of the coolest things about this unit, no pun intended, is that it can actually cool your pool too. If you've ever had water creep into the high 80s or even into the 90s during peak summer, you know it stops feeling refreshing. This system can bring the temperature back down to whatever feels best for you. It's not just a heater, it can also cool the water. Now, I did set out hoping this would turn the pool into a true year-round setup. But here's the honest truth. Once the outside air dips too low, even the best heat pumps start to struggle. They work by pulling heat from the air, so when the air's too cold, the efficiency drops fast. All right, this is the coldest day we've had yet. It's November 11th, and it's 35 degrees right now. It got down to like 27. We're at 60 degrees water coming in and 63 coming out. Hit our limit here. I don't think we're gonna be able to be swimming, so at this point with the weather like this, I am just gonna turn it off. That said, for most of the year, these units are incredibly efficient. They move heat instead of generating it. That's why they can give you several units of heat output for every unit of electricity used. So while I may not be swimming in the dead of winter, I'm now comfortably swimming well into the late fall and early spring, something that used to be impossible. Now, I'd love your input on making it even more efficient. What could I add to the pool to get it even warmer? What am I missing? Drop your ideas in the comments. I'd love to test them out and then share the results. 3 summers in, and still this above ground pool has exceeded every expectation I had. With the Aquastrong heat pump, I've extended our swim season by months, even with heavy shade, long plumbing, and almost no insulation. And honestly, that shade tree that I was considering cutting down is now a welcome addition. Even without direct sunlight, we can keep the pool right where it feels best, thanks to the Aquastrong heat pump. So while it may not be truly year-round, yet it's absolutely a swim season extended, efficient, and well worth it in my opinion. If you want to check out the Aquastrong heat pump I used, or some of their even more powerful models, I'll have them linked in the video description, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. Thanks to this new upgrade, I'm going to enjoy the fact that I can still jump in this pool long after everyone else has already closed theirs down. And there's nothing quite like being able to keep mine open into the late fall, or being able to open it back up in the early spring. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Chad from Chad's Custom Creations. Be encouraged, stay inspired, and keep on swimming.